this is the layout we used last week. Somebody asked me how to draw this from scratch. So I thought we'll start with this, you know, because we're going to use this layout several times. Now, what we're going to do is really draw two squares at the beginning, two squares. And we're going to start by this line, the one in the middle. So mark these lines, these two lines. And now, again, without changing the compass, put it in the mark, okay? And again, draw an arc at the top and the bottom and the side as well. So 3 marks. And you do the same thing here. One above the horizontal line, one below, and one on the horizontal line. Can you see now? We've got 2 squares. This is one square, and this is the second square. So we draw a line from here and the first thing you need to notice that this line goes through this point, this point. Can you see here? All of them, the line goes through them. If it's above or below, then you're not drawing it accurately. Okay, now this is another perpendicular line. And again, see here, it passes exactly this in this point. Okay, and now this side. Okay, now we've got 2 cells or 2 squares. We can draw now we can divide this side and this side to the 5-fold rectangle. And immediately you could see a pattern here. Can you see the pattern? No? Go and try it. Look at it properly.
I can see triangles. So maybe the pentacles come out of it.
Okay, okay. Let's
The loza, I can see the loza, yeah.
Yes. Can you see the star now?
Yeah.
And if we do that. Can you see? This is the most basic pattern here in 5-fold. It's very basic. In the middle, and I've drawn this line wrong, but you could see it here. Can you see it now? This is the very,
Yes.
very
Yes.
basic pattern.
Mm.
Can you tell me what does this circle do? What's the benefit of this circle?
Parallel lines.
Exactly. See what we need to draw from this point here, this line. So we need 2 points here and here.
Ustaz, I have a question. How did
Yes.
this shape, you know, the envelope shape, the one that is slightly bigger than the square, how did it generate? Like,
The envelope shape, which one?
yeah. So the outline, you know, the envelope we're drawing in, the one that is slightly bigger than a square. Yes.
The rectangle, you mean?
Yeah, the rectangle. Sorry. Yeah. So
Yeah.
mathematically, how did it like generate? I saw the step, of course, you know, extending the circle as we drew the 1054 before. But what mathematically, like, how does it? Is there a way to understand it mathematically? How did it generate this envelope?
You see the difference between mathematics and geometry. Geometry, you could see the process. With mathematics, it's a little bit difficult because it's calculation. Okay, so all of it really is to do with the tan of this tan the angle 18. If you look properly, can you see this here? Up to here.
Yes.
This is a standard rectangle. Can you see the line? If I draw the line from here to here,
Yes. Yeah.
can you see it? So it's 1, 2, 3. It's just like, and here, this, the rest of the rectangle is the tan 72.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah. So it's 1054 plus 1072, basically.
Yeah.
Two. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All
Yeah, it's
these,
clear.
all these rectangles, one way or another, is a combination of these rectangles. Okay, you always, if you want to analyze a pattern, find a line that cuts the shapes into half. Always see this line cuts the Sirmidan into half, the pentagon into half. Okay, and now another line. See, everything is in half. Okay, now another line here, again into half. If I cut or draw that's wrong here, because it doesn't cut shapes into two equal sides. So here, again, this line cuts if we, if we have a Sirmidan here, that cuts all the shapes into half. So once you've done that, then you look for the rectangle. This is the quarter now. This part is a quarter.
Wow, thank you so much. That's like a revelation to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, and thank you also for asking these questions. Those are
Yeah,
excellent.
that's good. Now we close the rectangle and we start working on the pattern itself. And one thing I should always, remind you with, the traditional method, you always draw in a rectangle, not in an open space like many other people do. And this is very important. And all the information you need is going to be inside this rectangle. You don't need to go out at all, out of the rectangle. Now you could see how this rectangle is really made of a combination of the standard rectangle. You know, the standard rectangle is this. See, this is, the standard rectangle, roughly. And I call it tan 54. The reason tan is the height of the rectangle itself. Okay, and you could see here, that's another rectangle, which is tan 72. These two rectangles overlapped, okay, and plus this standard rectangle. And you could see here on the right side how these circles, they're giving us information. They're giving us a new intersection point, because you see, in the traditional method, we don't extend lines. We have to join two known points. For example, now we know this point. We know the location of this point. So we always connect between two known points. For example, if I want to draw a line here, this point is known and this point is known. We don't do extension at all. The reason for that is obvious. Extension can lead to inaccuracy. Other patterns emerged. Can you see the other pattern here?
What do you mean by other pattern?
Other pattern emerges.
Yeah, there's a petal there.
There is a petal.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
actually it's this. See, that's a pattern, a simple pattern.
Hmm.
While we're drawing a pattern, these kind of patterns come up all the time. Now you could see the other pattern that I mentioned clearly. See here. Well, that line should be different. See, that's a simple pattern. So really, this complicated pattern is a development of this one, simple one.
For me, for example, when I started, I was impatient really. And then at one step, I started using GeoGebra, a computer program,
Yeah,
because I wanted to get the patterns out and I wanted to paint them.
yeah,
But then after a while, when I did that, I realized that that isn't giving me the satisfaction of having created a pattern.
no, you don't understand how it's done.
No, you don't get, I mean, the feeling of it. I cannot say this, I made this pattern because the computer made it, you know? So then I went back to drawing and did it the hard way.
Well, it's not hard. When you're used to it, when you get used to it,
Mm.
it will not be hard, you know.
No, but in the beginning it is.
Yes, yes.
But that it gives you an immense satisfaction when you finally begin to see the things that you are telling us. Do you see this
Yeah.
pattern? Do you see? And when you finally begin to see one or two things, it's amazing, you know, it's a revelation, sort of. Yeah.
It's true.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that because you're right.
Thank
I'm
you.
experiencing that in these few short months this year. So
The pattern. See, when I say this, these shapes, they're all identical. Okay. Now we've got this shape on this side, and it's exactly the same as this side. So when we put the compass here and draw the circle, then this line should be, and these two lines here, they should be the same distance from the center. See how the rules, they're not making things difficult for you. The rules make it easier. So these are very important rules you need to understand and keep in mind. Similar shapes must be identical.
I'm still trying to figure out how to draw the very first step, which is the rectangle, and I've drawn it 7 times now. And every single time I do it, when I get up to here, this intersection is always off compared to where my original circle was. Like it's always there, it's not meeting at all. It's always far more inside compared to the line of my square. I'm just wondering if you have any idea why.
There is 2 reasons for it. I mean, it looks like you've got the compass in the right position,
Okay.
but you need to be careful with the compass because in some cases you're drawing and the compass changes itself.
Got it.
You know,
Yeah, because
slightly.
like I said, this is my 7th one, and every single time they're going in like that.
Yeah, so try not to push on the pencil. Let me show you, you know, what I mean by pushing the on the pencil. Let me share. Okay, can you see? Can you see this? See,
Yeah.
one thing you need to know or make sure of. Let me, okay. If the pencil is loose, what type of compass you have? This is the best.
I have this one, and I have this one, and I have this one. And I think I have one like yours where you would put a pencil in it too.
Yeah, what is important about this compass? See here, you know, if you look at this, is not circle.
Right.
I think yours is a circle one. So when you put the pencil in it, it really holds the pencil firm. And you need to make sure that this is not moving. See, it doesn't move. Okay. And make sure that this part, if you've got an elbow here, make sure it doesn't move. I mean, if it moves easy, when you're pushing on the paper, okay, see, the best way to draw the circle is not to draw like this, you know, perpendicular to the paper. What you need to do is to just let me put a paper here. What you need to do is to tilt the compass away from you or towards you, but don't draw it like this. Okay, and let the pencil drag it. What happens is when you're drawing like this, you're pushing on the pencil. Okay, when you're drawing perpendicular to the paper, you're pushing on the pencil. And what's happened if it's loose is going to get, you know, it will move away a little bit. And in most cases, this is what is happening. One of the things you need to do is to use a cutting mat. See, under this paper, there is a cutting mat. So the you know, the needle anchor properly in the
Got it.
yeah. And
Yeah, my paper's squirreling all over the place.
you're drawing on a smooth surface.
I'm
isn't it?
drawing on glass.
Oh, that's you cannot get any smoother. That's the reason. Yeah, yeah. This is the reason. You because you don't want the paper to move.
Yeah, it's moving all over. I'm chasing
Yeah.
it. It's like
Yeah,
herding cats.
this is the reason. The reason.
Sorry, did you hear me? About why is it you take that distance? Could you explain that?
You're asking a very difficult question.
I know. I want to see if you have a good answer.
In almost every case, the way to find the height of the rectangle is by looking at the shapes on the edge. We've got these shapes on the edge. So the only one we've got here is the petals. You see, there is 2 petals here and there is 2 petals here. You know, if we go to the next page. See, the height of the petal is this distance. So we've got a petal here, and when we draw the circle, it's the same thing. It's given us the height of the petal. Can you see the simple pattern that, on the left side? No answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the very, very simple one, you know.
When you know what to look for, it's easy.